Container ships bob like restless giants outside Durban's harbour mouth, their engines idling while stevedores wait for cranes that don't move fast enough and spreadsheets tally the billions bleeding from South Africa's stalled logistics machine. Long before sunrise, truckers already creep along the N2 in single-file convoys, burning diesel and patience as they inch toward clogged terminals. Every extra hour costs exporters market share, slashes mine margins, and makes supermarket fruit pricier by the day. Yet in the shadows of rust-flecked gantries, an overhaul on a scale unseen since the port was first dredged is gathering speed, an overhaul that could either turn South Africa back into Africa's trading powerhouse or deepen its descent into logistic paralysis. Before we plunge into the cables, court battles, and midnight war rooms behind this transformation, hit that subscribe button right now so you never miss an Unfiltered investigation. We expose the deals, the delays, and the dollars in play, because if you don't watch the ports will watch your wallet. First came the cash infusion. In May, the government signed off on a 51 billion rand guarantee facility for Transnet, a lifeline meant to stabilize debt, fund critical maintenance, and prove to rattled financiers that the state still backs its logistics crown jewel. But money alone can't free jammed berths. So Transnet fired up a national recovery plan, corridor-specific war rooms that bring rail engineers, port managers, and private exporters under one roof, stripping away red tape to chase daily targets on everything from locomotive availability to crane moves per hour. Early reports show shorter vessel queues and faster truck turn times in Cape Town and Richards Bay, with new truck staging areas easing notorious N2 gridlock. Equipment renewal followed the cash. Years of underinvestment left quay cranes groaning and straddle carriers cannibalize for parts. Now contracts with original equipment manufacturers are rushing in spare gear while ports embark on full fleet replacement programs. Durban's container terminals, which handle 60% of national box traffic, have begun receiving new ship-to-shore cranes and rubber-tired gantries in a bid to double productivity by decade's end. Yet hardware will falter without skilled hands, so Transnet is bringing retired crane drivers back as mentors and flooding technical colleges with bursaries for mechatronics apprentices. The biggest jolt, however, is structural, opening state assets to private operators. Rail got the green light first. In March, the Transport Ministry launched a request for proposals inviting global investors to rehabilitate mineral export corridors crippled by cable theft and locomotive shortages, with full tenders due in August. The plan dovetails with a new independent infrastructure manager and a forthcoming transport economic regulator that will police access fees and settle disputes when private trains vie for scarce slots. The target is brutal in its ambition: lift rail volumes from 160 million to 250 million tons within 5 years, yanking heavy haul off congested highways and slashing logistics costs for coal, iron ore, and agriculture. At sea, the spotlight falls on Durban, where a stalled concession for Pier 2, the country's busiest container terminal, has become a courtroom thriller. Transnet picked Philippines-based ICTSI as its 25-year partner, promising a 12 billion rand investment to deepen berths and expand capacity from 2 to nearly 3 million TEUs. But a rival bidder hauled the deal into court, alleging procedural flaws, freezing capital upgrades at precisely the moment the port needs them most. While the lawyers spar, Transnet is chasing smaller wins, fresh bids for Maidon Wharf's multipurpose terminal, a fruit industry task team to shave days off table grape transit times, and a pledge that no dockworker will be retrenched as private capital rolls in. Cynics argue the reforms are déjà vu dressed up in new PowerPoint slides, pointing to cable thieves who slice signaling wires faster than technicians can splice them, or to corrupt procurement officers who swap tenders for kickbacks. But early data hint at momentum. Gross crane moves per hour, a global litmus test of port productivity, nudged from a dismal 16 in 2024 toward 22 by early 2025, with a public commitment to hit 30 by 2030. Freight rail's on-time departures on the Northern Cape Manganese Line doubled after a task team hunted down hotspot saboteurs and accelerated locomotive overhauls. Even ship waiting times, once the bane of citrus exporters, have dipped below pre-pandemic averages during the crucial harvest window. Still, every gain hangs on a thread of ifs. If the guarantee cash actually buys spare parts instead of new scandals. If private bidders survive bureaucratic gauntlets and court appeals. If vandalism is tamed by smart surveillance and stiff sentences. And if unions can be convinced that private participation means more cargo, not pink slips. Transnet insists the prize is worth the gamble. A logistics system that slices national shipping costs by double digits, unlocks new mines starved for export slots, and restores South Africa's reputation among global carriers now flocking to Walvis Bay and Maputo. Time is short. Fitch and other ratings agencies have warned that without visible throughput gains, the guarantee line will simply inflate sovereign risk. Exporters, bruised by years of delays, threaten to reroute cargoes permanently. And investors scouting Africa's growth corridors have choices. Neighboring ports already boast crane rates Durban can only dream of, and they dangle tax holidays to sweeten the deal. That's why SA Unfiltered will keep a spotlight trained on every berth dredged, every locomotive leased, and every private contract signed or stalled. We'll track whether promised equipment actually arrives, whether war rooms deliver more than press statements, and whether the ports you depend on become faster, fairer, and future-proof, or sink back into gridlock. Don't leave the fate of the economy in the hands of press releases.